don't know what's going on, but my clock, my internal baseball clock, is way off. I just keep thinking it's Thursday. I know it's only Tuesday. It's the wrong T day. I understand that, but I just keep thinking it's Thursday, which makes me excited for opening day. Now, to hold me over, I get to watch the 76ers be god-awfully terrible at basketball, where they out tank the New Orleans Pelicans last night in New Orleans, which was impressive. And I even said, I think I said it on this show. I know I said it on the postcast 2 nights ago, but they're probably going to rest Quentin Grimes for this game. And then lo and behold, they rest Quentin Grimes, which apparently was the end-all, be-all for that one. So this is what's holding me over. The Sixers being terrible at basketball. The Flyers giving us a night off from them. That'll be not playing so great. And we get the Philadelphia Eagles with an intriguing addition to their offensive line. There are two things that I saw yesterday with this Eagles offensive line. The first thing was the workout that's been going around with Jeff Stoutland and a very young Lane Johnson right before the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Lane Johnson in the first year of the Chip Kelly era. So Jeff Stoutland gets here with Chip Kelly, and then he works out Lane Johnson. And he works him out while Lane has his hands behind his back, not tied or anything weird like that, but he's just got his hands behind his back. And Jeff Stoutland is holding him as Lane Johnson is trying to move around. Now, as I've told you before, when I've talked to Jeff Stoutland about what he looks for in an offensive lineman, I believe the phrase he used was, I look for lower body lateral movement. It looked to me that's exactly what Lane Johnson was showing during that drill. Imagine doing that drill for all but, 5 seconds, and you're like, all right, move around. Yep. All right, we got a Hall of Famer here. We should probably draft him. But that's pretty. That's what's ending up. That's what's ending up. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, at least, and a Hall of Famer. Draft him from this little drill that he did. That's the first thing I saw about the Eagles' offensive line yesterday. The second was Kendall Lamm getting added to this Eagles offensive line. Now, Fred Johnson has moved on. And the Eagles now have brought in veteran swing tackle Kendall Lamm, who has a touchdown reception in his career when he was with the Cleveland Browns. Caught a touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield. Not bad. So he's got a big guy touchdown, as they like to say. Very versatile player, can play on either right or left side. Was undrafted in 2015 out of App State, and everywhere he's gone, he has been appreciated. Let's put it that way, for his versatility. Now, he's also been a journeyman over his 10-year NFL career, playing for 4 different teams, being on the practice squad for the Detroit Lions as well. So the Eagles have become his Beepo Bop. Will be the 5th team if he plays for him. It'll be the 5th team that he's played for. But certainly a backup for the most part in his career, but a guy that's good to have around the squad, as they say. I've heard a lot of great things about him. I've read a lot of great things about him, but all in all, the proof is in the pudding. What has he been in his career? Well, 119 games. He started 44 of them. So that pretty much tells you what he's been. But when you need offensive line depth, this is some good offensive line depth. You talk about Green you've already got in the offseason. You've now added Lamb. This is not the worst thing in the world for the Eagles. Definitely an intriguing pickup, and I'm happy that the Eagles have continued to get offensive line depth, as they'll tell you throughout the entire offseason. It's all about the trenches. It's all about the trenches, and another bargain deal for the Eagles, no doubt about that. But we got a lot to get into today because it was also a little bit of a pot being stirred. I didn't touch on too much of it yesterday. I did ask the question about, is it time for Trey Turner, for somebody else to lead off? Rob Thompson hinted during the broadcast, this is Philly's second to last broadcast of the spring, that he might go back and forth a little bit when it comes to who his leadoff hitter could be. Righties versus lefties. You could have either Trey Turner or you could have Kyle Schwarber atop the order. My stance on this, it's one of those things that you just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand it. The Phillies win a boatload of games with Kyle Schwarber as the leadoff hitter. And 2 years ago, when Trey Turner got here, I wanted Trey Turner to be the leadoff hitter, and things started out with Trey Turner as the leadoff hitter. Then Kyle Schwarber ended up taking over that responsibility in June, and the Phillies, oh, baby. Oh, man, they went on a run after that. They were incredible after that. So last year, Kyle Schwarber was the leadoff hitter, and that was that. And the Phillies got out to an incredible start. And I actually went back yesterday, and I was because I've referenced that incredible start that the Phillies had. And I went back yesterday, and I wanted to look at what the Phillies had done. And this is all with Kyle Schwarber atop the order. So this definitely sticks out to me. The Phillies on May 23rd. Now, everyone wanted to talk about how bad they were after London. Okay? But I've referenced the 6-game road trip that they had when they went to Colorado and then they went to San Francisco. Phillies had won 6 straight games. On May 23rd, they beat the Rangers for their 6th straight win. They were 37-14. Let's pause it right there. 37-14. I think we all knew not maintainable. I mean, this is great. They haven't lost a series since the second series of the season. They lost their first 2 series, and then they went on a roll for the next 2 months. Then they go on the 6-game road trip. They go 2-4 on that road trip. 2-4. Not terrible, but it's a bad road trip. What happened after that was abysmal. The Phillies ended up after that road trip on May 23rd. They went, so May 24th was their first game. After that, they go 58-53 the rest of the way. Now, that's still a winning record, obviously, but that's not 37-14 for crying out loud. And then if you do want to talk about coming back from London, they were 52-47 after they got back from London. So again, a winning record, but 5 games over 500 is not exactly the bar that they set early on in the season. Now, I say this because we've seen the Phillies offense just absolutely go flat, and they went flat last year as well. Their pitching struggled as Taijuan Walker continued to pitch. More on that in a second. But this Phillies team has had had an incredible start last year. They've had incredible stretches of playing baseball. And what it has shown me is that they need to play great at the end of the year. And this is not breaking news. This is pretty much what it is in baseball. Be hot at the end of the season, ride that momentum through the playoffs, and hopefully to at least a World Series appearance. Now, what's the best route to do that? I've mentioned many times I got a lot of confidence. The number one reason I feel confident this Phillies team is going to win 90 games at least this season and at least make a wild card is that their rotation is stacked. It is absolutely stacked. I am nervous as hell about number 5 in the first couple of weeks of the season here, with Ranger Suarez starting the season on the IL and Taijuan Walker getting shelled yesterday, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to the top of the order, is it time for a change in order to get more consistency later? Now, the arguments for Kyle Schwarber aren't just the fact that the Phillies win, which is ultimately the most important, but it's also who gives you the best opportunity to win those games and put up runs so that you give that run support to that starting rotation. And we don't go through long lulls of the season where we're talking about, Zach Wheeler isn't getting any run support. Jesus Luzardo isn't getting any runs support. Aaron Nola, no run support for Nola. Christopher Sanchez. Well, it goes on. How do we navigate this if we're the Phillies? I saw Jimmy Rollins, no surprise, gave the vote of confidence to the speedster, Trey Turner, over the slugger in Kyle Schwarber. The only thing that makes me want Trey Turner, well, if you're including just with a baseball eye, it just looks more natural for Kyle Schwarber to be batting somewhere down in the lineup and Trey Turner to be leading off. But the only thing is that maybe this is time for the change. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting that different result, right? Like, overall, will the Phillies be better if Trey Turner is leading off, getting on base and all that? But when you think about it in that light, Kyle Schwarber is the guy that is one of the best in on-base percentage in all of baseball. And isn't that what you want at the top of the order? Also, you've heard it from Rob Thompson's perspective, other players that play against the Phillies, pitchers, talking about Kyle Schwarber. I have to think about the first guy I see is Kyle Schwarber. There's I didn't have my best stuff in that first inning because Kyle Schwarber is going to make you pay for it. And that's in the pitcher's side. That's the mental aspect of it all. I'm always one to argue that baseball players, more than anybody, are creatures of habit. They like to know their routine. They like to get settled in their routine, comfortable, so they know exactly where they need to be before they go up to the plate. Whether that's or in the outfield or second base or whoever they're playing. They like to have that established position in either the order or in the field, obviously. But Rob Thompson has so much credit for being this player's manager that I don't think he's just throwing this out there unless Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner are down with it. I ultimately think Trey Turner leading off will lead to more runs for the Phillies. And just as I thought when Trey Turner got here, the better option would be for him to lead off and allow him to get on base for Kyle Schwarber to come in. And I know I've talked about Kyle Schwarber as the cleanup hitter. The thing that scares me about that's a lot. It's 200 strikeouts right there. If you get Trey Turner on base, Bryce Harper gets on base. Bases, that's a lot of strikeouts. You can also be talking about a lot of fastballs, but I don't know too many people that are going to give Kyle Schwarber fastballs, even with the bases loaded. So I am still, all the winning the Phillies have done has led to disappointment. It's time for some kind of change here. And that change ain't just Max Kepler being in the lineup. That change ain't Rafael Marchand maybe playing 50, 60 games this year to give a break to JT Realmuto if everybody stays healthy. Starts. Not plays, but starts Rafael Marchand. Changes are going to happen in this lineup. And I think the first one that needs to happen is that Trey Turner needs to go to the top of the order. I would love to give that another whirl because the last time the Phillies really gave that a chance, a true chance, was 2 seasons ago when Trey Turner was first with the Phils, and he was terrible on the start of the season. I don't know what you want to blame it on. Whatever that was, it was god-awful. And everyone was like, this is the $300 million guy? Really? This is all Bryce Harper's fault. This guy sucks. No, and then they finally turned it around, of course. But now I think with the guy settled here, without any of that distraction of new team and new setting and change of scenery didn't do him good, at least to start out. I think it's time that there's another chance here for Trey Turner to be your leadoff hitter. And again, I don't think Rob Thompson is just throwing it against the wall saying, lefties and righties or start either or. I think he's going to those guys saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. What do you think? I don't think he's just doing that on a whim. I would be shocked if these guys didn't sign off on it, approve it, have a conversation. Be like, yeah, whatever helps ball club, Skip. Yeah, sure. But for me, aesthetically, it just makes so much more sense to me to have Trey Turner as the leadoff guy on this squad. And yeah, I anywhere else for Kyle Schwarber, even if he's batting second, if you do have him batting cleanup and you move Alec Boehm up to bat second, it wouldn't to me be the worst thing in the world. Now, if you care about lefty-righty, you could obviously switch that up. But the one thing that Rob Thompson has at least told us, other than Taijuan Walker is going to be in the rotation to start the season, it's that his 1 through 4 hitters are, as we discussed yesterday, in no particular order confirmed yet, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm. And most likely when the season starts on Thursday, that is going to be the way it is. Now, yesterday, people were making a big deal 2 days ago about Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff. Yesterday, it was a different story. Yesterday, the Phillies had Trey Turner back in the leadoff spot. And that's the way your boy, Rob Thompson, drew it up yesterday for the Phils. The Phillies had a interesting one yesterday, especially with the way Taijuan Walker was pitching in that game. But all in all, yesterday, you saw Trey Turner leading off for the Phils. They actually ended up beating the Rays. They came back and beat the Rays 8-6. You had Turner, Harper, Boehm, Schwarber batting cleanup. So that's the way that shaped up. So Boehm, with this lineup, batting third, would get maybe more fastballs with Kyle Schwarber waiting behind him. And then it was JT Realmuto. Rafael Marchand also got you 2 at-bats yesterday, got you a hit also, as well as an RBI. Kepler was batting behind Realmuto, then Castellanos, Stott, Marsh. Something tells me, and by the way, the starting pitcher yesterday was a righty. with Trey Turner up there. So the Phillies, for me, watching this squad yesterday, or excuse me, following it yesterday, I should say, I think it's a little bit more indicative of what Rob Thompson could be doing on Thursday. Now, we're all going to be trying to read between the lines and all that, but it's not going to come official until, 90 minutes before first pitch on Thursday. My vote goes to Trey Turner. Where does your vote go when it comes to the Phillies and the leadoff spot? And am I crazy? Like, I don't hear a lot of excitement about the Phillies. Like, for me, even when the Phillies are god-awful, I'm excited for opening day. Am I alone on that? Is anyone excited for baseball? And don't give me, the Eagles set a really high bar and they won, and that makes me less excited about anything else. No, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for baseball. I'm ready for. If anything, the Sixers have made me long for something that might win. That the Sixers being so terrible, the Flyers just go in the absolute tank. In between the high of the Eagles Super Bowl victory and the astonishment of that win, like we might have just seen the greatest Eagles season ever. I think we've definitely seen the greatest Eagles season of my lifetime. The greatest. A 10-game winning streak and an absolute dominant performance in the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's the greatest season ever. No doubt in my mind. But then after that, after all that deliciousness of the Eagles football season was like, the Sixers. Oh, God, the Flyers. Oh, that's terrible. And then the Phillies. Yay. The Phillies are going to play in the playoffs this year. They had 95 wins after that incredible start to the season. Again, 37-14. After their incredible start to the season, they had 95 wins. I think they could be right. I think they're going to be right around that this season. The unfortunate thing is the Braves just don't know how to lose. Like, the only way they could come close to losing is if a bunch of the players get hurt like last year. But the Mets, their rotation last year gave problems to the Phillies. Overall, not so much, but to the Phillies, they gave them a lot of problems. The Nationals the best thing the Phillies could do. Look, winning is obviously the best thing, but just don't do the thing, as we talk about every year, and it seems to happen long stretches for the Phillies over the last handful of seasons. Don't do the thing where you play down to your opponents. Don't do that. Crush this Nationals team. Let's just watch the Phillies start out with 3 straight wins before they come home. Let's just go take care of business against Nationals. I'm gonna be greedy. I'm gonna say with Wheeler, Luzardo, and Nola going bing bang boom to start things off. 3 wins. Is that too much to ask for? Nah, I don't think so. Just don't put it out. Come home winners. I'll be happy with that. But no excitement. I'm not getting any buzz. And maybe, hey, look, if you really do feel like you saw I don't know what's a good comparison here. If you really feel like you saw Gladiator 1 and then immediately saw Gladiator 2, I can imagine the letdown. It sets a high bar. But I'm not letting one affect the other. Isolated incidents. I'm not allowing the high of the Eagles make me look down on the Phillies, especially after we've already had the letdowns of an absolutely atrocious 76ers season. A huge step backwards of a Flyers season, and now the Phillies. If anything, Sixers and Flyers allowed the Phillies to get a fresh start for me, at least, but still have that excitement of opening day. 4:00, by the way. 4:05, excuse me, in DC. Actually, it'll probably be like a 4:30 thing. They'll probably do the festivities and DC and all that stuff. But who's your leadoff hitter? Anyway, answer that question for me. And if there's any excitement for you when it comes to the Philadelphia Phillies getting underway, because I have a lot of excitement about it. I have a lot of excitement. And I have said this many times, but one more time. Nick Castellanos saying they don't have pressure. I want him to think that. Whatever makes him not grip the bat too tight, whatever. But, oh, my God, there's a amazing amount of pressure on this Phillies team this year. Got to perform. Got to win. No more steps backwards. Thank you. Kendall Lamm was talking about him, obviously, to start the show. Fred Johnson being gone. Kenyon Green coming in here. Eagles are going to continue to need those offensive linemen. We know every single year they need to call. Hey, Fred Johnson was a guy that started a bunch of games for you when Lane Johnson was out last year. They need guys in there to perform at a high level. Everywhere this guy has been, Kendall Lamm, he has performed at a high level. Houston, they really liked him. Cleveland, they really liked him. Tennessee, they had him for a year. They liked him. Miami, he was there for 3 years. And now he comes here to Philly. I mentioned, you talk about versatility. He could play right or left. You also talk about the ability to catch. He's got 2 catches in his career, folks, including a touchdown. Let's get creative. Kevin Patullo, what do you got up your sleeve? He is a rather big target. Talking about 6'5". You're talking about listed at 308 pounds. 32 years old, be 35 when the season, or excuse me, 33 when the season starts. Look, this is a guy who's been around, and the fact that he's been around as much as he has been around in the NFL, and he's still here, show that he still has something to offer the league. Backup. That's what he's been throughout his career. That's what he'll be here in Philadelphia. As they always say, the Eagles, they're building in the trenches. This is just one guy to help back up what you got in the trenches. And you're also talking about not costing you a lot of money again. Lamm, like I said, swing tackle. You bring in Green, who can play tackle. He can also play guard. He's been a guard the majority of the time. It's what the Eagles always do. Stock up on these guys because you never know what's going to happen throughout a season. And one of the guys you thought you could rely on, and Fred Johnson, for instance, is no longer here. So, look, it's just one of those moves that the Eagles seem to make every single year. And I feel like it's a good one. The other thing that I found really interesting, and I had to be reminded of this, I forget where I saw it, but Jameis Winston going to the Giants. Okay. At the Super Bowl media night, Jameis Winston was running around giving cookie W's. I don't know. Cookies in the shape of W's. One of the things he was doing. The other thing is he was like, hey, who else needs a quarterback? And he asked Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley said, well, I think the Giants need a quarterback. Bing, bang, boom. Jameis Winston goes to the Giants. Isn't that something? The other thing, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. First, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and the Browns. I think most people have made this note already, but Kenny Pickett is a first-round pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers, same city in which he played his college ball. Kenny Pickett leaves the Steelers, comes to the Eagles to avoid Russell Wilson and also Justin Fields. Kenny Pickett then gets dealt to the Browns for another backup quarterback. And then who also might go to the Browns? Russell Wilson, who Kenny Pickett was trying to avoid in Pittsburgh anyway. That would kind of suck for Kenny Pickett. That would kind of suck for Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. And then Aaron Rodgers. Did I really read this story that Woody Johnson wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers this season with the Jets? Did that? I understand Aaron Rodgers has become a personality in sports that just transcends multiple MVP, Super Bowl champion, one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen play football. He's transcended that and become a political figure in a lot of ways. What do you call it? Alternative medicine guy and all that. And you know what? To each their own. Let me take all that and throw it out the window for a second as far as anything off the football field. You're coming off being terrible with the Jets. The Jets went and got you Devontae Adams, and you still weren't good. who the hell does he think he is at this point? He wants to hold the Giants hostage. He wants to hold who else? The Vikings hostage. I am enjoying, dude, you just sucked with the Jets. Who the hell do you think you are? And I know there's other people that root against him for other reasons, but I'm just saying from a football perspective, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? The Jets went and got Justin Fields just so, dude, we don't want to deal with you anymore. The Vikings are in a spot right now where, hold on a second. Now, and I had this conversation a while back, and I think I mentioned it on the show. My mailman's a Vikings fan, and we got to talking, okay? And he mentioned, he's like, well, what do you think about McCarthy? I was like, I think I love McCarthy because if you're a Jets fan, or excuse me, if you're a Vikings fan, you just had success with Sam Darnold, who failed in two other teams, 3 other systems, and now you made the play. You had one of the best records in the NFL. You made the playoffs with him. McCarthy comes out here and he's just good. Doesn't even have to be great. You're talking about an incredible year. So if that's your thought, why would you go get Aaron Rodgers and why would you be begging for Aaron Rodgers when you could be growing with a young receiver in Justin Jefferson and a young quarterback? Why wouldn't you just do that as opposed to shelling out the money for Aaron Rodgers? Why not? Why would you just move on with your future? I'd be feeling pretty damn good. So that would be my take on it if I was a Vikings fan, which I'm not. But the other part of it is, why am I going to continue to entertain Aaron Rodgers? If he would have been benched last year, that would have been something. Oh, man. That would have been something. Just from the entertainment value of it. Hearing him on Pat McAfee talk about it, because that's something I would definitely tune into. That'd be something. But yeah. Meanwhile, the Eagles signed Kendall Lamm. So there you go. I gotta. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious, folks. Here is me. The last, let's say, 10 games, probably more, of the Sixers season, sitting down ready to watch the Sixers. Ugh. Last night, Philadelphia 76ers go to face the New Orleans Pelicans, who, in case you haven't been paying attention, suck. They suck really bad. And the Sixers are trying to out tank them, just in an effort to make sure that they at least out tank the Toronto Raptors, who won yesterday against the Wizards, the same Wizards that the Sixers host tomorrow night when they come back from their 1-5 road trip. And they're also trying to stay as bad and at least one game worse than the Brooklyn Nets. So they go to face the Pelicans, who, again, are terrible. And they lose to the Pelicans with resting Quentin Grimes, who has been incredible, really, for the Sixers since joining the squad and has become player number 1. He's become the seasonal franchise player. That's what I will dub Quentin Grimes, the seasonal franchise player, the franchise player of the tank. They rest him last night after the back-to-back. They lose to the Hawks. They go to New Orleans, and they lose. This Sixers team was down 16 points in the second quarter. In the third quarter, they magically come back and actually take a lead. Justin Edwards hits a 3. Sixers go up, I believe it was 2 points. And then the Pelicans, every game, the Sixers have either taken a lead for a moment or they've threatened. Like in the Hawks, they cut it to 68-60, and they're down 8 points. And I'm like, oh, God, don't you dare come back and win this game. Don't you dare come back. And they did not. The Hawks ran away with it. And then it was like a 19-4 run or something. And then last night, the Sixers actually take a lead on a Justin Edwards 3. And then the Pelicans end the third quarter on a 16-2 run. Thank you, Pelicans. Now, with Quentin Grimes being down and Justin Edwards scoring 20 points in back-to-back games, a lot of people were excited about what they would see. Well, geez, that's an overstatement. A lot of people, did I say a lot? Some people were interested in seeing if Justin Edwards would score maybe 25, maybe 30 points in this game. I know some people that bet the over on 21.5 points for Justin Edwards. He went into the fourth quarter at 19 points. He came out of the fourth quarter with still 19 points. He did not score in the fourth quarter. So it's a bad beat for some people out there. But all in all, the Sixers showed me nothing last night. I've been saying after every game, just give me something to look forward to for next year. There was nothing. There was nothing. Dembona was a little aggressive. Got smacked in the eyes and still finished a dunk. His first game back in 5 games after an ankle injury. And he was one of the guys that, other than like Quentin Grimes, I was like, oh, maybe this guy will give you something next year. He's got the athleticism. At times he has a little stone hands syndrome that you like to see go away. But all in all, this guy could be, I'm not saying an all-star, but at least the right backup center. Was it Paul Reed talking trash a couple weeks ago? I forget. But he could be better than Paul Reed, which for some people is saying something at least. A lot better than Paul Reed. So that would be more athletic Andre Drummond, which is pretty much means you're athletic. That's what I'll cross my fingers for. But as of last night's game, that was god-awful. As for the standings, the Nets also lost last night. The Toronto Raptors, I mentioned, they beat those Wizards. So right now, the 76ers have the 5th worst record in the NBA, but they're not alone in that. The Brooklyn Nets have the same 23-49 record. Tomorrow night is the Sixers' chance against the Nets. Rest Justin Edwards, rest Quentin Grimes, rest all these people. Please. You're going to need it. Watch the Wizards somehow continue to be worse. Watch them continue to be worse. Also, the questions being asked about Tyrese Maxey. You got 10 games left in the season. What are we doing? You have a all-star caliber player with a back issue and a banged up finger on his shooting hand. One finger was taped to the other. So I was saying in his last couple of games, he's got 3 working fingers, 3 usable fingers on his shooting hand. Why is he playing? The Sixers are actually flirting with the idea of bringing him back. No. Shut him down. Please and thank you. As soon as humanly possible. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. Also, don't forget about Game Time Picks. The Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app allows you to eliminate all the fluff and get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app for the game, concert, or comedy show. You can even view your seat before you buy your ticket, so you get the guesswork, take the guesswork out of buying tickets and know exactly what you're buying. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. How about Sky Motor Cars? Check out Brett's amazing inventory at skymotorcars.com. I believe I mentioned it. In case I didn't, happy trails to friend of the show, Avante Maddox, headed back home to Detroit. If you saw the episode of SkyDrive that we did with Avante Maddox about maybe 2 years ago, Avante Maddox said that when the Eagles played in Detroit, he was taken for a lot of tickets. Well, now Avante is in Detroit. Cannot imagine how many tickets he's going to be having to fulfill the requests of over a 17-game season. So good luck to you there, pal. Good luck to you. But yeah, Avante Maddox goes to the Lions, signing a one-year deal. Interesting thing, if you really want to read anything, like I am now in the school of Dallas Goedert has played his last game, and I've been for a while. Dallas Goedert has played his last game as an Eagle. Who's Dallas Goedert besties with? Avante Maddox. Avante Maddox no longer here. I'm not saying that guarantees anything, but doesn't help. Doesn't help. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Tuesday morning. Goodness gracious. Wine Niners Wine, good morning. Happy Howie season. What's going on? William Stark, good morning. Farzy and company. Is the Flyers goalies or defense hanging them out to dry or a combo of both? I'm going to say the goaltending, which is the worst in the NHL, by the way. The Flyers save percent. The Flyers have the worst save percentage in the NHL. when you're the worst, just like you're the best. Let's take Nick Sirianni's advice here, William, because I thought about this. Let's take Nick Sirianni's advice, or not his advice, but what does Nick Sirianni say? And now every player says, you can't be great without the greatness of others, right? Isn't that nice? You can't be great without the greatness of others. Let's think about it one more time here. You can't be great without the greatness of others.
Well, that's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Nick. You can't be god-awful without the god-awfulness of others. So when you talk about the Flyers' defense, including goaltending, it all sucks. It's terrible. Now, the Flyers, Matvei Mishkov has given me something to look forward to for the coming years. But ultimately, I don't know if you guys caught the interview that Ashlyn Sullivan did on NBC Sports Philadelphia with John Tortorella, but ultimately, my takeaway from John Tortorella in that interview, they just posted all of it. It's a little under a half hour. They released it in series, but or increments, I should say. John Tortorella talked about how after next year, a lot of dead money comes off the cap, comes off the books. That's when he talked about really making the turnaround. So this year was a major step back. The Flyers were out of the final wild card spot last year by winning it by 5 points. Like for a team with no expectation, that's something. This year, I don't even know. Last I looked, they were 11 games out of a wild card, points out of a wild card. So that's not good. That's obviously pretty terrible. But yeah, you're gonna ask me to blame defense or goaltending. Oh, that's another takeaway. Carter Hart, this is a quote I didn't think I'd ever hear from John Tortorella. But tizzy. He used the word tizzy. And the way he used it in the context was Carter Hart. Losing Carter Hart sent their goaltending situation and team into a tizzy. Direct quote, John Tortorella. What's his trial? Next month? Starts next month, I think, for Carter Hart. There you go. But yeah, it all sucks. To answer your question, William, it all sucks. Just jumped around on me. Excuse me. Sean Kilray, good morning. Jason A, good morning. Pin 9617, good morning. Good morning. April, what's going on? April, can't wait for baseball, but I think people are still living in the Super Bowl high. Right? Brian Mitchell, what's going on? My dad excited for baseball because it's the same product they put out every year. Then if they get to the playoffs, they choke. All right. I think that's what a lot of people think, but that doesn't mean you're not going to enjoy the ride. I'm at least excited to get in the car again and take this ride with the Phillies. And I think for a lot of people, it's like, all right, be interesting until September. When I think September is when they're going to be the most interesting. Wine Niners Wine. We may have witnessed the biggest Super Bowl butt kick in history. I'm enjoying that until the first regular season game because it can't get better. It's one of the biggest blowouts in history, yeah. And maybe that's why Vic Fangio was all on this is unacceptable when they allowed the late touchdowns. Danny Prado, what's going on, man? How you doing? Can't be excited for a season that plays like the movie Groundhog Day every year, says Brian Mitchell. All right. Well, maybe Bryce Harper and Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Nick Castellanos, maybe they buy the full health and life insurance from Ned Ryerson immediately as opposed to waiting till the end of the movie. Spoiler, he buys life insurance and all that stuff from Ned Ryerson. Needle nose Ned the head. Anyway, maybe that's it. Maybe. Wishful thinking, Brian. Saquon Barkley doesn't want Russell Wilson as quarterback. Absolutely not. I don't think I implied anything to the contrary. Thank you, JJ. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? New Eagle A.J. Dillon reveals how he landed in Philly in his meeting with Big Dom. He has an aura about him. I didn't see that. Where did he say that? That's great. By the way, the other thing. What was the other thing? The other thing. There was something else I was going to tell you. That just reminded me. Oh, Devontae Smith did that interview with Carmelo Anthony. And he revealed that during the Nick Sirianni spat, that game against the Browns where Sirianni was going back and forth with the fans, right? Remember that? Coming out of the bye week, he revealed that the fans who were chanting "run the ball" can have an influence on the game. And I was shocked that that wasn't picked up by more people. Like, it was Devontae Smith is sitting there doing an interview, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the fans can influence the game." That never gets acknowledged like that. Like, oh, it's an intimidating atmosphere. But it's never where they're your assistants to the play caller. It's never that. It's, oh, yeah, real passion, a lot of passion in Philadelphia. A lot of, very intimidating place to play. But not like, oh, they're helping us call plays. That's how Devontae Smith presented it during the interview. I was like, damn, that's awesome. And then I was like, is it awesome? I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Wine skipping Washington's Harris Sixers talk for a day. Insert Sirianni drop. That would be dope. Thank you, Wine Niners Wine. Jason A. I agree, April. If it wasn't for the Eagles winning, we would be depressed sports town right now. That's true. That's true. Jeremy, what's going on? Good morning. I'm looking forward to opening day. However, the inconsistent bats and approach concerns me. You can't teach old dogs new tricks. Casty and JT drive me nuts with their approach. Atlanta, Los Angeles win the National League. I'm betting on the Phillies to make the playoffs. I'm not betting on the Phillies to win the National League. I'm not betting on the Phillies, obviously, to win the World Series. But surprise me. Surprise me. My lineup. Ooh, whoa, Jeremy. Stott at the top. Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber, Casty, Marsh, JT. Stott leading off. 2 years ago when he was healthy, he took pitches, fouled them off. He's scrappy, healthy. This year, he's healthy this year. Length of the lineup. I think that's a future thing. I don't think that's a right now thing. One thing that I am really looking forward to is Stott. You talked about healthy. This spring training, talking about how bad the elbow was, how much that bothered him throughout the year. He was terrible at the plate last year. Let's call it what it is. He was terrible at the plate last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much better he is this year when healthy. Jay State's the goalie for sure. There you go. Not disagreeing, but he can't be that awful without the awfulness of others. Wine Niners Wine. If Danny, the Flyers, has to spend some of the offseason with Howie, it would be great to have two professional teams with awesome GMs in the same city. Wine Niners Wine. Here's a little thing about that. If you remember, when the NHL took in the salary cap, the Flyers did one really dumb thing, and then the Flyers did one really smart thing. The dumb thing was they acted like there was no salary cap, and they overpaid for guys like Mike Rathje. Okay, do you have that on your bingo card today? And a couple other guys. I can't remember the other ones, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Was Darian Hatcher another one of them? Might have been. Anyway, that was the dumb thing. The smart thing was they brought in Joe Banner. So hold on. Let's do two dumb things. The dumb thing was signing those players. The smart thing was to bring in Joe Banner. The second dumb thing was to ignore Joe Banner. Like, it was smart to bring in Joe Banner and be like, so how do you manage a cap? And then it was like, all right, whatever that guy said, forget it. Let's just sign these players for too much money in a league where they can't really keep doing what they've been doing, which is clearing guys out of the crease. JB, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. As far as I love the spot on Still Show. Oh, great stuff. Much appreciated. Hey, JB, appreciate you. Thank you. JD3, most boring part of the year. Come on, draft. Come on, June 1st. There you go. Oh, and good morning. Good morning to you as well. Jackson Gosman, what's going on? We will see how the season will go for the Phillies with the first 20 games. All right. I'm not a will see guy. You know what I mean? But limiting it to 20 games, it still tells you nothing. To me, it still tells you nothing. It's 162 games. 20 games doesn't mean anything. 37-14 last year. What, are they going to win the World Series? 52-48. Is that what I said? Hold on, let me check my notes. 52-47 after London. 58-53 after May 23rd. 37-14, and then 5 games over 500. Let's see. It should be Turner leadoff spot, Schwarber at the 2-hole, Harper at 3. All right, I'd like that. Jason A. Farzy, what position in the draft do you want most, first or second round? Mine would be first edge, second tight end. I'm good on edge. I'd love to see another defensive tackle taken. Tight end, they're going to have to draft a tight end. That's a have to. They've stocked up a lot on edge rushers in the offseason. And I realize that these guys have a lot to prove still. But they're still going to take an edge rusher. I don't think they do it with their first pick. I think they take a defensive tackle. JB, but Jason, I wouldn't be pissed. Let me just answer that. I wouldn't be pissed. JB, Groundhog Day. Love the movie references. Thank you. It's a great movie. I just real quick on Groundhog Day. Didn't expect to talk about this thing. So I was born in Ambler, moved around a bunch, but was back here when I was like 10. And I remember we had Prism. This is my exposure to Prism. My exposure to Prism was Mark Zumoff and Groundhog Day. Prism, for the kids, was the precursor to Comcast Sportsnet, precursor to NBC Sports Philadelphia. Prism had Groundhog Day on like Groundhog Day, like every day, back to back, and then like Mark Zumoff would come on and talk about the Sixers, and then back to Bill Murray. So that movie, when I just moved here, didn't have any friends, I just moved back here because Ambler and then Doylestown, they're not exactly neighbors. So had some family and all that, but still making friends and all that stuff. But Groundhog Day, I probably watched 100 times. I probably experienced Groundhog Day while watching Groundhog Day. DJ, aka Mr. Sandman, what's going on? 76ers were sacrificed so the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. I love it when we do that with our sports. Wow, really good on edge. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to say this how I think you're saying this. Wow, really? Good on edge? I'm going to say that. I think Uche, Ojulari, and Nolan Smith, they're pretty happy with where they're at on edge. Bryce Huff, I don't see coming back here. They're gonna do something to get rid of that. Pay a lot of that money, most likely. But I don't see them, especially in this draft. Defensive end is supposed to be really good in this draft. Tight end, as you said, is supposed to be really good in this draft. Overall, I've quoted this once or twice already, but Shefty talked about this draft is so deep that a player that you could get in the second round here would be like a first round, or excuse me, a third rounder this year would be like a first rounder last year. Like, that's how good this draft is supposed to be. Good. I got the inflection right. Thank you, Jason A. I have a strong feeling Howie is trading out of the first round to build up stock for next year. Wine Niners wine. I had the very similar thought, but how much more can you stock up? You got like 22 picks in the next 2 years. It's insane. Prism was JB. Prism was great for Flyers back then. What was Prism? Prism was, Prism was Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies, right? Yeah, they had the Phillies as well. Yeah, we had some good times, Prism. We had some good times. My brother bought me a Prism T-shirt for Christmas a couple of years ago. It was a little too small. Very disappointing. Makes me think he got that on a discount. But anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars. SkyMotorCars.com. I've mentioned the 76ers off till tomorrow night when they return from the 6-game road trip where they went 1-5. How do you win one? Damn it. Anyway, Sixers back at it tomorrow, 7 o'clock tip-off against the Wizards. The Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. They're back at it tonight north of the border in Toronto. Against Scott Lawton, trying to avoid their sixth straight loss. That's where they're at with that one. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time. That'll be just a wonderful time. Let me tell you that much. And one more thing. Yeah. Phillies got nothing until Thursday. Rest up, boys. Rest up. Oh, I'm a big fat idiot. I've only mentioned his name. That reminds me. Okay. This is what I wanted to give you guys on your boy, Taijuan Walker. By the way, side note, is there anything more annoying than when somebody that you really don't like, and where somebody goes about someone you really don't like, yeah, your boy, Taijuan Walker. Like, what do you mean, my boy? He's not my boy. He's not my boy. Like making it out like you champion the cause of Taijuan Walker. Yesterday, the Phillies jumped out to a 3-1 lead on the Tampa Bay Rays. After the Rays jumped out to a 1-0 lead on Taijuan Walker and the Phillies, Taijuan Walker ended up giving all those runs right back. Four innings yesterday for Taijuan Walker. 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. His spring ERA went up to 7.41, but have no fear. All he was doing yesterday was trying to throw sliders. Marcus Hayes wrote a column about it, and it involved Taijuan Walker taking a bite of a cheeseburger and then throwing it down before the game, not during the game. And then how Caleb Cotham and Taijuan Walker devised a plan where he was just going to work on his slider. Well, apparently he was hanging him, and the Rays were banging him. Yeah, not great. Not ideal. Not ideal. Not ideal for Taijuan Walker. But anyway, he's your 5th starter, so that's fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'm off the rest of the day. No postcast tonight, but catch me on Locked On Sports, Locked On Phillies YouTube channel throughout the Phillies season, and I'll be breaking down the Phillies for you all season long on Locked On Phillies YouTube channel with your postcasts. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel as well. Catch you guys tomorrow morning. See you then.